Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today we are going to be continuing our tier list series for Civilization 7. Hopefully not so much dying game as we move into the exploration era. We're going to be going over all 12 exploration civs, starting first and foremost here with the Abbasids. Before continuing on here, let's remind everybody that this is my personal opinion. This is based on my 400-ish gameplay hours of the game so far, and I tend to not favor domination victories. I tend to favor very, I tend to prefer turtley sort of gameplay styles, so that might skew my beliefs, my opinions a little bit. If you have different opinions, please leave them in the comments down below, but keep it civil, don't be attacking me or anybody else, and we'll have a discussion as we talk about what we think about this. We're going to start here with the Abbasids, and it's no secret that the Abbasids are an extremely powerful civilization, even if they're a little difficult to unlock. I think the Abbasids are one of the reasons why Ibn Battuta is such a popular leader. One of the reasons is he guarantees unlocks the Abbasids. Otherwise, you have to have 3 camel resources, which might get a little difficult. But the Abbasids are definitely worth it. Their bonus, the Medina, gives you 30 gold for each rural population of a city. Now, this is all the cities working, all the citizens working things like mines or farms, fishing boats. And by the time you get to the exploration era, there's a good chance that you're going to have like a 30-ish pop city, and that city is going to be working somewhere around 10. I would say in my game set safely, and especially in my capital, I can hit about 10 or so rural population in my city, which is going to give me about 300-ish gold every time I pop a specialist down, which is fantastic. We also get the Mamluk, which gives you a very strong defensive unit. You get extra combat strength for every urban pop, which again is going to be quite a few if you're stacking up enough districts. And the Abbasids play really well into a turtley protect yourself sort of gameplay style. You get the Alim, which is a fantastic, great person. There are so many things that you can get out of this that is like just free, great, powerful things. You have multiple Alim that construct buildings, like you get a menagerie for free with extra happiness, you get a hospital for free with extra food, you get an observatory for free with extra science. So there are 3 there that actually just save you on the production of the Alim itself by building a building and getting extra yields off of it. One of them will give you a free technology, one of them will give you a free policy slot, which is fantastic. One of them will give you +3 science for both quarters and buildings in the Alima, which is just nonsense. It's so much extra science. You get one that gives you a free specialist 2 times. So if you're pushing like a, I don't know, like a 30, 40, 45 population city, which is not that unheard of, and you get that specialist Alim, then you're saving thousands and thousands of food or rural population, so you're saving gold up here by doing so. I think the Alim is the best unique unit in the game. They're super mega powerful, and I think that all unique units should like be up to this level, in my opinion. You also get the Ulima, which is probably the 2nd best unique quarter in the game besides the Maya unique quarter. The Abbasid quarter gives you +1 science to all specialists in your city, which is a lot of science by the time you get to the end of the era. But not only that, you get 5 science on the madrasa, +1 science adjacency for quarters, the easiest adjacency in the game, another science adjacency for science buildings and wonders. You get such huge specialists off of this building. It's easy to pop the 1,000 science barrier per turn just having Ulimas. The mosque also gives you happiness to pay for all of those specialists, because specialists take happiness, and it gives you culture. So you're getting gold. You have an Alim that'll give you influence. You're getting happiness. You're getting culture, and you're getting science, which is everything that you'd want except for production. And if you speed through the tech tree, you're going to get a decent amount of production as well. So by just looking at these bonuses, you might think that their traditions are not so great. But if we go in here and we look at their civics, they're also really good. 50% production towards constructing buildings in cities with at least 8 urban population. That's going to be most of your cities starting out at the beginning of the era. It's just a production bonus. So now you have bonuses towards everything but food. When you look in here, though, +4 food on science buildings, which is going to be boosted by your specialists. So you just get like a nonsense amount of yields for free. City of Peace also giving you +1 science adjacency to City Hall and Palace, which is already something that you want anyway. 15% science in cities with at least 8 urban population, and 4 science in towns. So your cities are going to just be rolling through science. You also end up with happiness on resources with a temple, and science equal to 25%, a quarter of your trade income, which is, it's the amount of science that you get out of here is just phenomenal. And when you get science, you're going to get all those other extra things that science gives, which we'll look at the science tree in a second. Mamluks gain skirmish, which is meh, it's okay. 3 gold in science for each resource assigned to cities can be super powerful. And then here, 33% happiness towards maintaining specialists. So you're also going to be rolling through celebrations. And you're going to be able to put in these nice tradition cards. As well as when you look here at the science tree at things like the amounts of specialists you're going to get, though, but you're going to get relics and culture on culture buildings very easily, production on production buildings very easily. You're going to get science on science buildings, and you're going to get to shipbuilding way faster than most other civilizations. But you really don't want to do anything with the distant lands. I mean, you can, and it's, I mean, if you want to expand and kill everybody, you're going to have the science to get up here to like big strong Mamluks and your trebuchets and your bombards and stuff like very easily. But also you can just completely ignore the distant lands entirely and just make friends with all the civs that you can make friends with, and then get this gold and science off of your trade. And you're just going to be flying through the Enlightenment legacy path like nobody's business. You're going to finish this so fast, but you're not only going to finish this, you're also going to be getting this pretty easily too. Because there's quite a few relics hidden in the science tree, and when you move through the science tree in the exploration age, you get so much free culture that you're also going to be able to move through the culture tree very easily. So the Abbasids, they give you a whole ton of science. You get a lot of production towards buildings, but not particularly units. You get a decent amount of culture, you get a lot of happiness, and you get a decent amount of food, which is kind of everything that you would want out of a civilization to get you anything that you might need. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and we're going to place the Abbasids right up here at strong by themselves. So with the exploration era here, we really had to consider the antiquity era when judging these civs. Antiquity was much easier to make a tier list for because the civs stand alone. But when we're thinking about the exploration era, we want to think about the synergies that can come up with, you know, maybe you were playing the Maya in the antiquity era and you got the Abbasids in the exploration era, and you're going to be making 4 billion science per turn, and you're going to be churning out production with the Maya unique quarter. But like, that's strong with synergy, right? But the Abbasids don't need that. They don't need that synergy to maintain a strong game. They're gonna push you through the science tree so much faster than any other civ in the game, so they're just strong by themselves. If the Abbasids had a weak point, I would say that it's really hard to unlock the Abbasids, right? Getting the 3 camels can be a bit difficult, but if you're playing like a trade heavy civ, it's not going to be so hard. If you're playing a conquest heavy civ, you're probably going to get 3 camels that way. And if you're playing Ibn Battuta, you're going to get it that way. Or Persia. Persia also unlocks the Abbasids as well. So even though they're one of the more rare civilizations to be able to play, I think Spain's probably the rarest. But even though they're one of the more rare civilizations to play in the exploration era, they are, in my opinion, by far the strongest. Just because the only thing you're lacking is like settlement limit, and you're also lacking production towards units. But do you need them? Do you need that sort of stuff with all the other bonuses that you're getting? I really don't think you do. Moving now into Bulgaria, which is a civilization that the Reddit community and the internet community seems to love a lot, but I personally don't know what I think about them just yet. They're kind of a conflicting civ for me, and I haven't really wrapped my head around exactly how I should be using them. Krum's dynasty gives you food to all towns when you pillage improvements equal to 50% of the yield of the pillage. But you also receive -3 combat strength against districts with medieval walls. So you want to be going to war, but you're a little worse at taking cities. So you don't want to take cities without siege units, but your siege units are worse at taking cities because they have a combat malice to attacking walls. You get the Boyar, which is a cavalry unit, which works really well here with our boy Charlemagne, but your unit gets +3 combat strength when fighting on rough terrain. And honestly speaking, with the amount of map generation options that we have these days, rough terrain is a little bit rarer than you might like to see it be. If they add some more map gen options like that in Civ 6, Civ 5, Civ 4, like a Highlands map or a old world age or a new world age map, we could end up with a lot of Highland rough terrain for your Boyars, and they could be good, but now I think they're just like okay-ish. The Tarkon's pretty cool though. It's an army commander that lets you pillage for no movement cost, which feeds heavily into the pillage focus that Bulgaria seems to work with. And finally, you get the Hidden Fortress. It gives you a flat 4 production, but like you can put multiple in a city, which gives you a ton of production to turn out a ton of units to go do more pillaging, which is great. And it is really good defensively, but again, it has to be placed on rough, and rough tiles tend to pile up next to each other, and you might, well, you know what, I was pretty down on these, but you know what, they're better than I think they are. They might be pretty strong. 4 production, a couple places in a city can be pretty strong. Plus, your civic tree gives you a few bonuses to those hidden fortresses as well. This tradition, False Retreat, is really the power of the Bulgarian civ, I think, though. You receive production in all cities. So this is different to your bonus from your civilization, which is only towns. So towns get food, which allow them to become cities a lot faster. And this tradition gives you production in cities, which allows you to get units out faster, or allows you to get buildings up faster. Production in all cities when pillaging equals to 50% of the yield pillaged. But you get an even further -3 combat strength to fortified districts, which is a pretty strong negative. They had to balance that out, and I think that does it. So combat units receive +5 combat strength when you have at least 5 relics on display. This, like, this reverses that combat penalty and about the mid-game. 5 relics is a decent investment. It's going to take a little bit of time to get to 5 relics. It's not going to happen very early in the exploration era, but it's not going to happen super late either. Relics are pretty common in the tech tree, in the culture tree, and so you'll get to 5 about the early midpoint of the era when you're going to have the most units out, I believe. You also get 2 culture for each adjacent mountain tile on a hidden fortress, which can give you production and culture, which is a really strong tile. And this is the strongest one, 2 migrants in the capital. So you're getting a lot of food to towns, but you're not getting any food to like cities. So having these 2 migrants show up gives you just 2 free pop that you can put on rural districts, which you can then later rewrite over with an urban district to get a specialist in. That's really powerful. Specialists are really important. The mastery here gives you extra yields from pillaging, which feeds right back into this pillage loop, which gives you even more production, which gives you even more food in your towns, which can be really strong. If you can set up a migrant town, you know, a town that has a very limited amount of tiles, that has a lot of food tiles, so whenever it grows, it just pops out a migrant, you can get a really good migrant farm going with Bulgaria. Bulgaria also gets access to the Rila Monastery a little bit early. I don't think it's early though, because the Rila Monastery is in the tech tree, I believe, right? Right here at heraldry, so it's not that deep in the tech tree. So you don't really get access to your unique wonder early, but you do have the bonus production towards it, which is good. It gives you 3 relic slots, which feeds into this, and it gives you a relic every time you build a wonder, which is, with the production bonus that you're going to get, you could build quite a few wonders if you get to them fast enough. But the big thing here is 2 happiness on hidden fortresses and a settlement with a temple. You're going to be suffering some war weariness, I'm sure. So that happiness helps balance a few things out. You get a free relic here, and iconolatry gives you +1 happiness and +1 gold on your great works. You're already going to have probably 5. You really are incentivized to get 5 here. So that's going to give you 5 gold, 5 happiness, which is not very much, but you're incentivized, really, honestly, to go for the full Toshkana path, which is going to give you 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12 at least. And if you play into the Rila Monastery game, you could end up with even more. But in my opinion, Bulgaria ends up with like a lot of flavor. Oh man, does it have so much flavor. You're just running around with horses pillaging things down to the ground and reaping those benefits back into your home territory. But I also don't believe that it gives you very much like direction or actual strength. So I'm just gonna put Bulgaria like down here strong with antiquity synergy. So if you have a really great antiquity age with like the biggest problem with Bulgaria is they have no real direction. You don't want to actually take cities because you have a negative to it and you want to be like burning and pillaging, or else you're going to run out of your bonuses pretty fast. So if you have a strong antiquity age with, you know, something like, I guess, of course Maya, but Maya is good for everybody. It's really hard to think of who might be good in antiquity here with Bulgaria. If you have a civilization that you're able to get quite a bit of wonders out with, if you had a civilization that you were able to get a really good unique quarter out with, or just something that allows you to get some pretty good adjacency on buildings, then that food, and if you get a strong like migration farm going up, you know what? No, I'm gonna drop Bulgaria down here to good. I don't think they're as strong as some other civilizations. They're generally good, though I don't think they're very weak. They're not going to go like down here, right? You don't need a good antiquity to have a good Bulgaria. But antiquity also isn't going to pop you off with Bulgaria more than it would pop off anybody down here, right? So they're just good overall. A little bit lost in their direction, but so packed with flavor that they can be pretty fun. Just not really my cup of tea, honestly. Moving forward now, we're sitting here at the Chola. And the Chola are a civilization that I gotta be honest, they've lost their luster, their sparkle in my eyes over time. They get +1 trade route for the improved trade relations action, so you're getting like extra influence. That's a little bit of an influence bonus that you're getting there. And then you get the Kalam, which is a +1 attack per turn naval unit. It's okay. I don't think naval combat's really even that strong. Even in this one with the distant lands mechanic, I don't think naval combat's really something that you're too concerned about in this game. You get a unique naval commander, which just has better movement and sight, and it gives like other people like negative strength, which is okay for sort of a distant lands invasion, but nothing in your kit really wants you to be doing that. You do have a unique quarter here, the 500 Lords, which gives you 5 land trade route range and 15 naval. Everything you'll see here is really focused in on trade routes. 4 happiness, 1 gold adjacency on quarters and wonders, 1 happiness for gold buildings and wonders, and 5 gold, 1 gold adjacency for coastal terrain, very easy to get. Navigable rivers and wonders. 50% production towards naval units. Meh. All of these things are just like, you get a lot of happy, you get a lot of gold. But think about like what the Abbasids were giving us, right? We were getting science, food, production, culture, gold. We were getting everything but influence, really. And right now all we're getting is happy and gold here. Plus 50% influence towards initiating the improved trade relations action. That's okay, but it's not really all that much influence you're saving here. You do have to spend more. I'm pretty sure you do have to spend more influence for higher trade levels, but it really doesn't end up being that expensive to get the Trade Relations Act, but this is just a decent bonus. You end up with +2 resource capacity in the capital. It's okay. You end up with 1 gold for every active diplomatic actions that you start. And 3 culture on gold buildings. You're incentivized to go into gold building, and this counts as a gold building. So you get the culture on that as well. But it is a tradition. It does carry forward, which can be really strong if you play, I don't know, someone very gold, like the Mongols. If you play like the Mongols, or someone very gold focused in the modern era, it can be really strong. If you had a gold district in the antiquity era, it can be pretty strong. So if you were playing like, I don't know, Egypt, and you get the mortuary temple, it can be really strong. It does help. Here you get +1 movement and sight on your boat and cheaper boat. This is maybe one of the worst tradition, like unique civics in the game. Every time I click this button, I hate it. I hate having to pay the culture for this. I just never run this at all. It just sucks. Then we get +1 settlement limit, and then you get 4 golden settlements other than your capital if they have a water building. That does, like, cap off. And then your unique commander receives a free promotion. Nothing really here pops out very strong. Like, it incentivizes you to build a big navy and to go conquer distant land civs, but then you're not going to get your trade routes. It incentivizes you to go really heavy on trade routes, but then you're not going to be using your navy. It's just so gold and happiness focused, so you're going to get lots of like celebrations. You're going to get a decent amount of policies to put in, but nothing that really like excels you for. When's the last time you played the Chola and you said to yourself, wow, I'm super happy right now that I'm playing the Chola? So that's why when we're looking at the Chola, we're gonna go ahead and pop them right down here into weak. I don't think that this means that they're bad. Okay, I don't think that they're bad, but I can't think of many reasons I would want to play them over, say, Majapahit, who has a very similar unlock condition. I'd much rather play the Majapahit. I'd much rather play as Hawaii than I would the Chola. And really, the only time I play Chola is whenever I roll a random Civ game and just randomize my exploration era. They're not bad. You can win a game with them. I've done it on the channel before, but they really rely on that leader to help you get to the winning position. So I'm gonna pop them down here in weak. I don't feel that they're garbage, but I just... Why would I play them over Hawaii? Hawaii is just everything that they want to be and more. Why would I play them over Majapahit? Majapahit is something that they would want to be and more. So down in the weak they go. Up next we have everybody's favorite Hawaii. And honestly, Hawaii is pretty good. I like them. Even after the huge nerf banning they received, I think Hawaii is still pretty good. They're a little difficult to unlock though unless you're playing certain leaders, but they're pretty great. Moana na Oikaya gives you 25 culture for each settlement every time your settlement expands to marine terrain. If you're popping down a fishing boat, which you're heavily incentivized to do, you're going to be getting a decent amount of culture to move through your unique civic tree. That's an important thing to remember when ranking civs like this, is how quickly can they unlock their specific bonuses? Because if their specific bonuses are really good, you're going to want to move through that culture tree pretty fast. And you also get happiness on those fishing boats, allowing you to spread your settlement way over that settlement limit and get even more culture. They play the distant lands island hopping game so well. The Leomano is a pretty okay infantry unit. It gives 3 combat strength against infantry and cavalry units, which is really good. And you know what? Honestly, not really okay. This is a good unit. This is a unit I don't think about because I don't war very often in the exploration age, unless I'm playing like Mongolia. But this is a good unit. 3 combat strength against almost everything, right? And you get the old Gorgo, old Aztec bonus of getting culture from defeating units. Right there. It's hidden away right in there. We like that. The Kahuna, unique missionary that gives you 25 gold when you convert a settlement. It's free gold, so you're getting happiness, you're getting culture, you're getting gold, and right here, 3 food, 2 production, and culture for adjacent farms on this unique improvement. So happiness, culture, gold, food, production. The only thing that we're missing is influence and science, really. If we look at our Hawaii civics, mana, 2 culture for every time a storm, flood, or volcanic eruption has provided fertility. That adds up fast. The Shawnee also have a bonus like this, but it's a tradition, which I think is better than this just like era-based thing. But this adds up super fast. You get a lot of culture. You get so much culture that they got nerfed, right? So this is very powerful. This is the one I start with. Down here, Loikalo gives you 4 food on culture buildings, which is less good than the 4 culture on food buildings that it used to be. It used to be plus 4 culture on food buildings. What else got nerfed? They went from, what was it? One? Ah, yeah. Where is it? Where is it? There was something here. Ah, over here. That's what got nerfed. We'll talk about that in just a second. However, so like the plus 4 food on culture buildings is good. It gives you food, it lets you grow, but it's not as good as the 4 culture on food buildings that it used to be, because food is just a little less valuable than culture was, and that's why they made this nerf. Even though they say that food is still so good, it's not much better, and that got mega nerfed. The mastery here, 2 culture for Loikalo improvements and settlements with a pavilion. That can add up to a decent amount of culture. But again, that's not scalable with specialists, right? So you have to be careful. And then down here, 50% production towards constructing culture buildings. Those 2 things used to tie in so well together, but they don't anymore. When you defeat an enemy unit with a Leumano, gain culture equal to 25% of the defeated unit's strength. So you're, as you can see here, you're just like zooming down the culture path, right? You're zooming through the civics tree. Hey, Nalu, 1 culture on marine train. This is where we're at. This is what everybody thinks about when they think about Hawaii. This used to be plus 2. And when it was plus 2 culture on marine terrain, you would have some ridiculous fishing cities and fishing towns. And you felt like a culture god playing the game. And that's been reduced by 50%. And even with the 50% reduction, it still feels really good. This feels good to have, and it feels good to play with this. Mastery, plus 1 happiness on marine terrain in towns following a religion. I think this used to be 2 happiness. Was it 2 happiness? I have the patch notes here. Where are they? Ah, no, it used to be plus 1 culture. Yeah, that's what it was. Oh, man. Can you imagine if that was still plus 1 culture? Yeah. I think what happened was Jose Rizal was getting way too much culture as an AI and was outpacing everybody. But all in all here, you're getting a huge amount of culture like generated in here just having marine terrain. You don't have to do anything for the culture. You're just getting it for settling coastally. This civ, like, if you get a good antiquity age civ, I don't know. Who plays really coastal in the antiquity? You know what? This civ might make Carthage really good. I haven't even considered a Carthage into Hawaii game. But maybe Carthage would make Hawaii pretty good with all of the little incidental cities you're getting out of Carthage. Maybe Hawaii would make Carthage pretty good. But as it stands, we're going to consider Hawaii as strong by itself. You're not getting a science bonus, right? And that's a weakness, but you're getting so much out of the culture tree for nothing. You're not having to like do anything other than have settled coastally in the previous era or settle coastally in this era. You're going to finish Toshkana really fast. If you're playing someone like Catherine, you're going to get a crazy amount of science out of her by having all the relics that you're going to have. And you get culture, you get production, you get happiness, you get gold, and you get food. So you have pretty much everything that you would want to have out of a civilization just here. And they're very fantastic. I think Hawaii is one of the strongest civilizations in the game for my type of playstyle. But they're not as strong as the Abbasids. But they do completely different things. Abbasids go hard into science. They go hard into culture. But the difference between the two of them is the Abbasids have more easy access to culture, and the Hawaiians don't have easy access into science. These guys, the Abbasids, they double dip a little bit better than the Hawaiians do. Disregard everything I said about food in the last group when I talked about Hawaii, when I said food isn't that great, because now we're going to talk about Inca, and the Inca make food good. The Inca allow you to get tons and tons of food compared to other civilizations, and food has gotten better when you're generating loads of it, which the Inca can do. First of all, they can work mountains, and they get 2 food and 1 production on those mountains. And you have civics that'll make that even better. You do have the Warakak, which is like, bad unit. It's a really bad ranged unit. It has 5 combat strength when attacking from rough terrain, and you're incentivized to be around a lot of rough terrain as the Incas. But I really don't think the Warakak is all that great. The Chasqui, the scout, is pretty good. It can move across the distant lands really well. It'll allow you to get trade routes up, and you should be focusing on trade with the Inca. And the terrace farm here, 6 food, unique improvement, and that gets better over time. But it has to be placed adjacent to a mountain. But, so you're getting a lot of food. We're getting a lot of food, but what can we do with that food? Wrong button, Robert. What can we do with that food? Well, when we look at the Inca civics, if we see Mita here, we get 15% food in settlements with their city and center adjacent to a mountain or with 3 worked mountain tiles. That means that lots of food that you're getting is going to specialists, right? And if you're playing with Pachacuri, then you're going to get free specialists adjacent to mountains that don't cost you happiness or food. So you're going to be playing into the enlightenment pathway pretty well. I think that, yeah, the Inca play very well into enlightenment, and I don't know if they play very well into any of the others, honestly, but enlightenment's pretty good for them. You also get +1 happiness on mountain tiles. Again, that gets you lots of celebrations, which you could use to get more culture and more relics and things like that. I think importantly here is Machu Picchu. You get Machu Picchu so early here compared to where it normally is. I think it's here in this tree, right? Yeah, Machu Picchu is way down here at the end of the era in urban planning. To do this, you need to research 1, 2, 3, 4... 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 techs to get all the way down here to Machu Picchu, or you're going to be researching most likely piety and economics. So 1, 2, and then you're going to jump into 3, 4 right here, and you're going to have it. Machu Picchu gives you 4 culture and gold on all buildings adjacent to it. It has to be built on a mountain, but this gives you crazy specialists. Crazy specialists, right? 4 gold and culture on a building that gets buffed with adjacency bonuses, right? So your specialists are going to really pop off, this is what makes the Inca pretty good in my opinion. Having early access to this and being able to get enough food to build specialists is going to make Inca really good. You also get Chapaknan, which gives you 25% gold from trade income as food, so more specialists. You get the Kipu here, which is like, okay, settlements receive 0.5 gold and 0.5 production for every urban and then rural population. You're going to have a lot of population. Most importantly is the production. And it's okay. This is just okay. 2 food on terrace farms and settlements with a granary is pretty strong because it gets you a lot of food. And then farms and terrace farms receive 3 food if adjacent to at least 1 mountain. So the Inca are a little difficult, I think, to rank because really all they're getting you is food. Tons and tons of food and just so much food. And you're also getting Machu Picchu, but you have to consider how you're going to use that food. You're going to get, if you're playing, you should most likely be playing as Pachacuri, let's be honest. And you're going to get no happiness maintenance penalty from that food. From that specialist. So you have some options here. You can go like heavy into growth into sort of a later exploration age domination play in the distant lands, and be trading with your own continent's trade partners. And that can be a really strong play. You're going to be finishing Enlightenment fast, right? But what other legacy path you're going to get, it's a little difficult to say. And if you don't have sort of the infrastructure in place already, the Inca are a little difficult to play as. But I want us to consider like a special sort of like situation. Imagine that you were playing Mississippians in the Antiquity Age, and you also have shell-tempered pottery. You also have all of those Mississippian gold policies that you're getting, and you're getting the food policies from the Mississippian traditions. So I think, like, if you set them up, the Inca can be really strong with Antiquity era synergy. I don't think that they're great. They're not going to be going up here. But if you played as the Mississippians, or if you play as the Khmer, which I think is a really bad civilization, but you do get all of those traditions related towards specialists as the Mississippian or as the Khmer. If you set up the Antiquity Age, you get all those nice mountain districts or mountain settlements. You're going to move into the exploration area and get a really big growth spurt with the Incas, getting even more specialists, getting all of those adjacency bonuses, and then you're going to be able to jump right into Nepal, which I don't think is fantastic, but you could also have like a really good culture game in the modern era as Nepal. So if you have that synergy, the Inca can be really, really strong. If you don't have that synergy, they drop all the way down here. But if you have that synergy, they're going to jump up to strong with that Antiquity era synergy. I didn't even think to mention, also, if you're playing as Confucius, like, you could also make some really strong cities with the Inca. So Pachacudi and Confucius, I think those are the two that you're going to want to really push if you're going to play the Inca. Pachacudi gives you free happiness on those specialists, which saves you a lot of happiness and allows you to warmonger a little bit. Confucius is going to give you science on those specialists, which is going to give you, like, even more, like, you're not going to really be able to warmonger, but you're going to be able to do some things because you're going to have science, which the Inca don't really give you naturally. I still would prefer Pachacudi, I think, but Confucius can be pretty good there. Moving forward to the Majapahit, we end up with a civilization that I think is pretty good. You start with Negara, which gives all city except for the capital a specialist limit. And this is at the start of the age. You get +1 specialist limit. It's fantastic. Normally, when you're running through the tech tree, you're hunting for like specialist limit here at urban planning. You're looking for that specialist limit. You're going down here to education to grab that specialist limit. I'm pretty sure there's specialist limit also in the exploration era tree somewhere. No, am I wrong? Is it all just settlement limit in here? Yeah. Okay, yeah, so that's something we need to consider. We really are only able to get up to +3 like specialist limit here in the tech tree, and that's not enough. It's really not enough if you want like to push some crazy yields. The Majapahit just get +1 specialist limit right off the bat, which is fantastic, which is more than anybody else can get, right? That does go away. I wish it would stay around. It would make the Majapahit probably a little too strong in multiplayer, but nobody's playing this game, Firaxis. Nobody's touching this game. It's mostly negative on Steam right now. Let it be a single player game. Don't balance it for multiplayer until somebody starts playing it. You also get the Setbang, which is just a naval unit. Nah, nobody cares about naval units. Even in this game that got navies pushed, naval units aren't that fantastic. The Pedanda is pretty good as missionary. You get culture and gold, which is better than the Hawaiian one because it just gives you culture. This gives you culture and gold. No, the Hawaiian one, does it culture or is it gold? I think it's gold. It gives you only one of them, but this one gives you both. And that's okay. And you're pretty encouraged to push culture here with the Majapahit. So you're gonna be doing this. The Pura is a conflicting district for me because you get a free relic. Fantastic. If you have enough cities, you're going to finish Toscana without even having to build the Pedanda. but you want to build this because it gives you culture and gold. So yeah, this is pretty decent, but there's an issue here. First, the Kandi Bintar gives you 5 culture and culture adjacency from coastal. This is easy to get. You're going to be able to scale the culture on this building like crazy with your specialist limit being boosted. But the Meru is a little different. It's a lot of happiness. +5 happiness, +2 happiness on natural wonders in your cities. How many of those you're going to have, though? Not too many. But importantly, +1 happiness adjacency for mountains and wonders, which means you're going to have like either wonders stacked up around your coast, or you're going to have mountains next to the coast, which happens. It does happen, but it happens less often than you would want. So you're going to be able to scale the culture off this building sky high, but you're not going to be able to scale the happiness to be able to get the social policy slots to really benefit that much from having that higher culture. But the Pura is a pretty good unit, or a unique quarter overall, I think. Even though this is a little disappointing, that's very fantastic. So already we have a strong base for a civ, but when we go in here to the civic tree, it gets even better. Now, you do get access, this is something I want to point out, you do get access to Borobudur and a 30% production bonus towards it. However, you get access to Borobudur way over here at Gamelon, 1, 2, 3, 4, +5, maybe 6 before you can get there. Or you could just go like this, and 1, 2, 3, 4, and get there faster. Do you really want Borobudur? Yes, Borobudur is really good. It gives you food and happiness on quarters. It's fantastic, and it carries on into the next age very well. But this is a case of one of those annoying civs where it's quicker to not get your bonuses to get your unique quarter or your unique wonder than it is to get your unique wonder and your bonuses at the same time. So is this stronger than the bonuses you would get? Is putting off those bonuses worthwhile? I think maybe. Borobudur, I think, is really powerful, and the AI tend to go for it in games that I play. So yeah. Looking here, you get 33% food towards maintaining specialists, which is fantastic, on top of the specialist things that you want. If you stack that up with the Han bonuses, wait, do Han get bonuses towards specialists in their tradition tree? Yes! Yes, the Han do get +1 science on specialists in their tradition tree. So if you put these two together, you're getting a science and a food bonus. The Pendanda getting an extra 25 up to 50 culture when you convert a settlement is okay. It boosts you quicker through your stuff. But by the time you get this, you will have already probably wanted to go here, which is kind of a bummer. And bureaucracy is really good for you because you get extra food and happiness towards specialists too. So honestly, you're going to want to go piety, economics, authority, bureaucracy as you're playing the Majapahit. Wayang, I might say that you might want to stop for Wayang first, maybe, before you get all the way to Borobudur. Just for that extra culture, it might be worth it. 1 culture from specialist, not in your capital. Yeah, so maybe you're going to want to go boom, boom. Excuse me, boom, boom. And then Wayang. And then authority and bureaucracy. But +1 culture from specialist, not in your capital. Really powerful, especially if you had a really strong antiquity age. 25% production towards overbuilding. We like overbuilding. It just gets us our buildings a little bit faster. This is not powerful. It's just okay. You're never going to go like, whoa, and feel amazing when you get this. It's probably one of the last things you click. But it's also like the better the earlier you get it. So, I don't know. Does it save you that much production in the long run? We'll see. Nusantara. Subak got nerfed into the ground. It used to be 2 culture, I think. 2 culture, 2 production on marine terrain and cities. But 1 culture, 1 production is still very strong. This is a little Hawaii bonus, but you get production on top of it. So it's better than the Hawaii bonus, honestly. Yeah, honestly, this is just better than the Hawaii bonus. It's a tradition also. Is the Hawaii bonus a tradition, or was it just an era-based thing? I can't remember off the top of my head now. I'll have to roll back the tape. I was mistaken. Hawaii is a tradition, but this didn't get nerfed. It got buffed to keep up with Hawaii. Hawaii went from 2 culture to 1 culture, and this went from 1 culture to 1 culture, 1 production. And honestly, I think this might be a little better than Hawaii's bonus. Culture buildings receive 1 happiness adjacent to coast terrain. That piles up and makes the happiness adjacency easier to get on the Meru because it piles up on the Kandi. 5 combat strength to naval units. Bleh, who cares about that? You're not going to be grabbing their masteries, really, honestly. You're not super interested too much in these masteries. But Gamelon, 2 culture on quarters. You're going to have so many quarters. It's going to be a lot of culture. A lot of culture and a free settlement limit. So all in all, what you're looking here is a bunch of culture. You're getting a decent amount of production. You're getting a decent amount of happiness. And you're getting bonuses towards food because you're getting quite a bit of bonuses towards specialists. Specialists, having that extra 1 specialist bonus feels really good. And although I don't think generally that Majapahit are like just as generally strong as the Hawaiians are, I think the Majapahit are really strong if you have a really good antiquity age. If you start with the Han and you get the specialists, or if you start with the Khmer and you get the bonus towards specialists, like anything that gets you bonuses towards specialists is going to end up giving you a lot of culture as you move through the exploration age, because the Majapahit really get a lot of culture going out of this. I think the Majapahit are really good. Do I switch these two? Do I switch these two like this? Can you imagine? Am I crazy? Do I just put them all up here? Do I just put them all up here at strong? I don't know. I want them to go here, but I'm really thinking, like, I'm pretty happy almost all the time to play the Majapahit in exploration age. I'm pretty happy just having them. So I'm gonna pop them up here at strong. I think that the Majapahit are pretty good. Yeah, we're gonna throw them up there. We move now to the Ming, which is, like, personally one of my favorite exploration age civs to play as. I've really grown to like the Ming. Previously, I wasn't super high on them, but man, have I gotten a new perspective on the Ming recently. Plus 50% science in the capital for Great Canon of Yongle, but negative 15 science per turn for each social policy, but not tradition, that is slotted into your government. This seems like a pretty big negative, but it's actually not that bad. You're mostly gonna be running traditions that you got previously in the antiquity era. So this really only becomes a problem if you have so many celebrations that you run out of traditions to slot. But you're gonna have at least 6 traditions to slot if you finish the civic tree for the Ming. Sometimes even 7 traditions to slot, depending on who your antiquity age civ was. So I think it's not really that big of a problem. How many times do you end up with like 12 social policies? Not that often. You're probably looking at a total of like negative 30, 45, maybe negative 60 total science per turn. But once you get up to like thousands of science per turn with this plus 50% science in the capital, I don't think it's going to be such a big deal. I really don't think it'll be that big of a deal. You also get the Shunlai Chong, which is a decent unique infantry unit. It's really strong early, falls off later. You get 4 combat strength and featureless tiles, but it's ranged. That's the important part. It's a ranged infantry unit, and you still get access to the heavy crossbowmen and the arquebusiers and things like that. So this is really powerful at the beginning of the game, and it falls off later when you'll have really strong ranged units to back it up. The Mandarin is a unique trader. It gives you 100 gold when you use a create a road action. That's not that big of a deal. It's really kind of the only time I use create roads. I probably should be using create roads more often, but it's really, I don't find this to be that big of a deal. The Ming Great Wall, however, is really good. 5 culture, plus 1 gold adjacency for fortification buildings and improvement. You cannot have this on top of a Han Great Wall, which I think is disgusting. I think, in my opinion, you should start with the Han Great Wall and then stack the Ming Great Wall on top of it. I would love to see that interaction go into play, but that's just, it is what it is. When we look at our civics tree here as the Ming, we see some really interesting stuff. I like this layout for a civic tree way better than I like the 1-1-2-1. I like this sort of layout better. I think it works through pretty well because you have like options you can go for. So we start here with 2 science in the settlements with a garrisoned unit, which is easy to get a hold of. And remember, you get plus 50% science in the capital. So if you have a garrison in the capital, you actually end up with 3 science. Down here, that's okay. It's not phenomenal, but it is a steady trickle of science. And if you get big enough, right? If you have, I don't know, 7 settlements, pop a unit in each settlement, that offsets at least 1 social policy, non-tradition social policy in your government. So I think that's okay. The mastery is where it gets better. The Ming Great Wall receives 2 gold in settlements with a bank. The bank is pretty deep in the tech tree. Where's the bank? Is it? No, it's not there. Where's the bank? Bank's down here, right? The bank is very deep in the tech tree. So you're not going to get too much out of that payoff there, but it is kind of a lot of gold because you're really incentivized to chain so many Great Wall tiles together. 3 combat strength range units adjacent to the Shawnee, which is a good. You're just going to have so much range firepower. You're very defensive. Super duper defensive, hard to invade. Li Jia, 25% gold towards purchasing buildings and towns. That's pretty good. It saves on production. The Baojia, plus 1 science for each resource assigned to a city. This is what is a really fantastic tradition. I think this is one of the biggest strengths of the Ming. You're going to be getting quite a few resources with your unique traders. If you have, I don't trade enough, and I feel like a lot of people don't build enough merchants. So like this will get you a lot of science per turn, and it's 2 in cities that are not your capital. So if you've gone wide and built a lot of cities, which you should have, that's the meta, you're gonna end up with, like, I've seen this hit like 60 or more based on trading. So this is a really powerful bonus. 2 resource capacity in the capital feeds back into Baojia, which is really good. Daming Lu, Mandarins receive 25% science when they use 25 science when they use create a road. That's okay, but this is really strong here. 2 science on gold buildings and 2 gold on science buildings. So you're getting like a lot of science, you're getting a lot of gold. You're not getting the amount of science and gold that the Abbasids were, right? But you're also combining that with like this culture here. You're also combining that with a very high defensiveness that you get from your Great Wall and your what is it, Songhai. And you get the settlement limit out. I keep misclicking things. You get the settlement limit here, and you get early access to the Forbidden City. And the Forbidden City should not be slept on. Okay, the Forbidden City really should not be slept on because it stacks with your Great Wall. 2 culture and gold on all fortification buildings. This is a fortification. Okay, this unique building. So it stacks, and normally the Forbidden City, where are you, Forbidden City? Well, you know what? I thought it would be early access, but 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. Or if you go straight into Ming, 1, 2, 3. Honestly, with Ming, you don't really care about your temples. You really care about this, but that can come later and still get you the same amount of like usefulness as something else would. So you're kind of encouraged to go straight into your uniques as the Ming. Now, all we do get is culture gold and a little bit of science. You're not getting a production bonus. You're not getting like a lot of other bonuses. But resource capacity is a production bonus because you can get production resources. Gold bonuses are a bit of a production bonuses because you can buy things. So yeah, I think the Ming are not like super mega overpowered like the Abbasids, or even maybe as strong as the Majapahit, but I think if you start with a very good antiquity era, and what I mean by that is if you start with like the Han, and you have like a lot of like gold buildings or synergies with specialists in your cities. If you start with, I don't know, I think even like Carthage could be good with the Ming for having lots of different settlements out. I think if you start with a really good antiquity, the Ming can be really good in your exploration age. Otherwise, I think they're here. Now remember, I said that the Inca were either here or here, right? I think they're either strong or weak, but I think the Ming can be really strong with a really good antiquity era. I think otherwise they're just here in good. So I'm going to throw you up here in strong with antiquity synergy. Moving into the Mongols, we end up with a civilization that's good at one thing, and it knows that it's good at it. It's good at burning stuff down and taking over your home continent. Bulk, when you capture an opposing settlement, you get the strongest cavalry unit that you can currently train. But you can't train settlers. You get a negative 50% production towards training settlers. And I think this is really interesting. You get 1 point towards the military legacy for conquering on your land instead of the conquered distant lands. So this is like, this and the Songhai are the only two that really adjust this victory condition. I really wish they'd gone so much further into this, because the game right now feels very samey no matter who you're playing, and being able to conquer your own continent and get the military victory is really like a strong facet of the Mongolian Empire. I think it's really the thing that makes you want to play the Mongols, is the fact that you get this point. Mongols are also really easy to unlock. Just 3 siege units. You can spend like 600 gold and you'll have that. So the Mongols are an interesting, easy to unlock, easy to play civ, and I think they're pretty decent. The Keshig is a unique ranged unit that also counts as a cavalry unit, which you can get them for free out of capturing settlements. The Noyan is a bonus towards, is an army commander that gets a bonus towards cavalry units. And the Ordu, which is, I don't know how to use this very well. It's a warehouse building that you place down, right? It gives you the yields of the tile plus 5 gold. And it gives you, like, there's a tradition that you can get that'll give you movement on it, I'm pretty sure. When we look here at the traditions, Gerege gives you 4 happiness in a settlement not founded by you for each resource assigned to them. You're going to be going on a conquering spree, and this baby is what pays for it. And this is a tradition, and it continues on into the modern era, which you're going to go on a conquering spree probably too. So Gerege is a really, really strong tradition. Captured towns do not cost double to convert to cities, and you get a settlement limit. This is 1 settlement limit, 2 settlement limits, 3, and 4 settlement limit that you get out of the Mongolian trees. That's the most settlement limit that anybody gives you. 4 hounds, 1 free Noyan. Fantastic. You're always going to want to click on this. 1 movement to cavalry units. You love clicking on this. 3 combat strength for cavalry units and a settlement limit. You love clicking on this. You like clicking on this. You like clicking on this. You enjoy clicking on this. You love clicking on this. And then Yasa gives you 25% production in cities not founded by you. And the Ordu receives 4 golden settlements you did not found, which gives it up to 9 gold. Yeah, restores movement to any Mongol unit at its location. Yeah. So you can, if you cross across one of these Ordus, you can go even further. So you can create a chain of cavalry, which is really fun to do. Also merchants, if you're not warring everybody at the same time, you can get merchants going across this as well. And then finally you get access to the Erdenezu, which gives you culture for every cavalry unit you create. And this is not a very contested wonder, so it's okay for it to be way down here. Where is it naturally? Right down here. So it's pretty late naturally. So it's not super contested. You can get that most of the time and just get a lot of culture out of it. So the Mongolians, I don't really have much to say about the Mongolians. I think they're super good at cavalry. Cavalry is what they do, and they're able to take over their home continent and have a really strong bonus going into the modern era. But all they do is burn things down and give you cities. They don't give you any culture bonuses except for the Erdenezu. They don't give you any science bonuses. They don't give you any other bonuses except have a unit, have some combat strength, have some movement. So I'm going to put them at good. I think they're better than Bulgaria. I don't think that they're like super good. And this could just be me, right? I'm not a huge military victory player. It's So maybe the Mongolians just don't fit my playstyle the way that I would like them to, but I think that they're solid. And if I'm having a game that's not going my way by the end of the Antiquity era, I'll just quickly purchase 3 siege units and play the Mongols moving into the next era. I think these are the ultimate like pivot civ. Right? And this is the one civ, and this is going to be a hot take, okay? Get ready for a hot take. Hot take incoming. Everybody hates the civ switching mechanic. And I'm not the biggest fan of the civ switching mechanic either. But whenever I play like Civ 5, whenever I play Civ 4, Civ 6, I don't like playing as the Mongolians for the entire game. Because at some point I get sick of domination. I want to dominate for a specific amount of time and then SimCity for the rest of the time. And so I think when they thought of the civ switching mechanic, I think Mongolia was the civ that they based it around, in my opinion, because this is the perfect switch into and then switch out of civ. You have a weak Antiquity Age, okay, Mongolians, burn the continent down, and then have the best scientific modern age you've ever had. Have the best cultural modern age you've ever had, because you have so many cities. So when it comes to the Mongolians, and very similarly, I think, the Normans, I think that civ switching, honestly, when it comes to the domination civ switching really works with the domination civs, and I think people are really anti-civ switching with the SimCity civs because they have, all the SimCity civs have such a unique flavor to themselves, right? But the domination civs are just burn stuff down, take cities, you know, Conan the Barbarian the whole map away. So you want to be able to switch into them and switch out of them, but you don't really want to switch out of the Abbasids. You want to play as the Abbasids. So I think Civ 7's Mongolia might be kind of the most best feeling Mongolia. Not in so far as like Keshiks are amazing. Civ 5 Keshiks were the best they've ever been. It's just Mongolia is so representative of what Civ 7 should be like, I think. We move now into opposite Mongolia, the Normans. Now, whereas Mongolia, I think, are really good, and they have very good flavor, and they're aggressive attack, I don't think the Normans are the same way. They seem very similar on a base surface level, but the Normans, I think, are very different, and they are very focused on the defense, whereas the Mongolians are very focused on the attack. So, Normanitas land units receive +1 movement when embarked, so you can cross the ocean better, and land units adjacent to coast receive 5 combat strength. So this seems good. Much like William the Conqueror, you want to sail the seas and move into the distant lands. But they don't get that many bonuses outside of this. The Cheval, I also think, is pretty good. 3 combat strength against slower units. The Sokman is a unique settler that gives you a free medieval wall. And the Danjan gives you a free Cheval when you complete it. So, like, if you build this in a couple of cities and you get some Cheval and then you cross the ocean, which you're gonna need to be in a deep part of the tech tree for, you're gonna need to be here to cross the ocean properly, then you can pretty much take over like a lot of coastal settlements with the Normans here, and then they're gonna be protected. But I don't know, they feel a little different. The Bailey, +4 culture, adjacency for medieval walls. That's pretty strong because you're going to get free medieval walls. And adjacency for wonders. And then the Mott gives you 4 happiness if placed on rough terrain. So you can get some mega happiness here, which is going to offset your conquering a little bit. This is one of the easiest happiness adjacencies to get. I know rough terrain's a little hard to come by. Right, go away. Sorry. Rough terrain's a little hard to come by, but you're getting culture and happiness, and not much else here from the Normans. So in the Norman civic tree, you end up with 50% production towards building fortification buildings, so that's medieval walls, which piles onto the Bailey here to give you extra culture, but not too much extra culture. You also get combat strength for Cheval for every tradition slotted in, which you're going to want traditions. If you have, who is it, Lafayette, you might get a decent amount of play out of that. an extra social policy slot in Jure, which is 4 culture from the palace, 2 happiness from city halls. Gonna end up with a lot of happiness, and you have plenty of traditions to play with here, which is going to give your Cheval plenty of combat strength. +1 settlement limit, maintenance from cavalry is reduced, culture for tradition slotted in, cold from farms, and extra for celebrations, which you get from happiness. And then you get 4 culture and settlements not founded by you. So I think like the Normans are a very snowball-y sort of civ. They're slow, whereas the Mongolians, you get a quick burst and you can move, and take things. The Normans, you have to go to the distant lands to get your military legacy going. I mean, yes, you can conquer your home continent. Everybody can. Yes, but if you want to get the legacy points and get the faster military victory in the modern era, you need to go to the distant lands. You get bonuses for attacking on the coast. You get bonuses for moving, so you're encouraged to do so. But you're going to have to wait till you're halfway through the tech tree to do that. Then when you get there, you're going to take over the coastal settlements, build a couple of Sokman and get some fortification buildings, and just turtle up and run on culture and happiness and policies until the end of the era. And honestly, I think it's just not a sort of gameplay style that I particularly love. I'm not the biggest fan of the Normans. I'm not going to put them as high as the Mongolians or the Bulgarians. I think with Antiquity era synergy, if you're playing as like, not just Antiquity era, if you start as Charlemagne and you get the free horses, they can be really strong. If you play as the Moria and you get the happiness quarter, they can be really strong. If you get a happiness or Rome, even Rome unlocks the Normans, getting lots of culture. If you're getting culture in, if you're getting celebrations going, I think the Normans are best though when you're Charlemagne and the Mauryans, and then you get those celebrations, you get the free horses, you cross across the sea and you take some people out. They can be really good with Antiquity synergy. Otherwise, I think they're just sort of like, I don't think they're weak. I think they're somewhere here. And I think they're better with Antiquity synergy. I'm just not a huge fan of the Normans. As much as I am the Mongolians or the Bulgarians. Because the Bulgarians have so many other bonuses. You can do so many other things. The Mongolians have that unique victory path. And the Normans just feel like Culture Mongolia is a little different. We're coming up close to the end of this tier list with a civilization that has really, in my opinion, skyrocketed in my estimations. I didn't think much of the Shawnee at first, and now I really think a lot about the Shawnee. I have a lot of fun playing them. If you have not done a Tecumseh, Greece, Shawnee, Mexico game, you really need to, because it's fun on a bun. It's so good. You get, as the Shawnee, Nepi Kivaki, settlements built adjacent to navigable rivers get +2 food on river terrain. But cities not built on navigable rivers get -10% food. This is not as big a malice as you think it is, because you are encouraged to have less cities and have more towns, fishing towns, farming towns. We'll talk about that in a little bit, but it does hurt a little tiny bit. It can be offset though. The Kispoko ne Naato is a unique infantry that gets 1 strength for every unique empire resource and more strength from other things later on. Can be really powerful and strong. The how do you say it? Hokip Kileni. Yeah, Hokip Kileni is a unique missionary that gets extra movement and does not end its movement on rivers. This allows you to get Toshkana really fast. You can get to, if you get to the +2 relics for every capital religious belief, you can get to those capitals very fast. And the Mawaskawe Skote +4 food and +1 gold for each adjacent resource. If you play this as the Mississippians, you can get a lot of gold off of resources. However, these are not super strong. If you look just at the Shawnee bonuses, you don't want to play as a Shawnee. But the real strength of the Shawnee comes from inside their own civic tree. Their civic tree is very good. Those bonuses that they get for just being the Shawnee, not so great. But the civic tree, bread dance, 4 culture to all farming towns, 4 food to fishing towns. That gives you a lot of culture, a lot of food, and that food goes to your capital and your other cities, which offsets the -10% yields. I like bread dance, and it's a tradition that I run pretty often throughout the game until I run out of settlements and I've converted everything to cities. Serpent Mound, you also get 30% production towards Serpent Mound, and Serpent Mound can be really good because it gives you 4 influence, and influence is so hard to come by. You also get 3 science and 2 production to all unique improvements, and you can get a unique improvement right here with the Mawaskawe Skote, which is really good, and you're super encouraged to go into city-states, which give you unique improvements as well. You get +1 settlement limit right here, plus the Mawaskawe Skote receives 1 culture per allied city-state, and I have had 8, 9 allied city-states before as a Shawnee, and you get 9 culture on the Mawaskawe Skote, and you get 3 science and 2 production, which is nutso crazy. The Miyaska Latoweki, 2 gold for each active trade route, while you have 3 Diplo endeavors. Easy to do, but I really love Kakalfi Pafkotaweta. Every time a storm or flood or volcanic eruption has provided fertility, you get 1 culture and 2 gold. This is better than the Hawaii bonus. This is better than the Hawaii bonus, in all honesty. It's really, really good. It's really, really good, and it's a tradition that you carry on into the next era. And I think this is like one of the reasons I like the Shawnee so much is this one tradition. So much golden culture can be made off of this until the end of the game. It's so good. +1 resource capacity in your capital per allied city-state. Again, you can get 8 or 9 of these bad boys and end up with a ton. Telwatiki, 50% influence towards initiating and progressing the befriend independent action, which leads right into these 2 texts as well, and right down here. Fantastic. You can support other players' wars 3 times instead of 1, so you can really screw over the happiness of others. This is more multiplayer, though, I think, or multiplayer shenanigans, and I don't really play multiplayer. 2 influence per turn. Fantastic. You get Machiavelli's whole bonus right here. And the Kispoko Nenato, your unique infantry, gets 1 combat strength per positive war support, which is a really strong bonus because you already get combat strength for positive war support, and this is just adding on to it. The Taki Iskawe Yapipoki cities receive 2 production on tundra, desert, and plains tiles. So much production. 2 food on farms and camps. So much food here. So you're getting culture, you're getting gold, you're getting influence, you're getting food, you're getting production. The Shawnee, if you're playing the independent people's game, the diplomatic game, the Shawnee are really, really, really powerful. I can't tell you how much I love Kakalfi Pafkotaweta. I love this so much. And there's so many games where I want to put disaster intensity up and just play the Shawnee. If you're playing the Shawnee, you really want to play as the Greeks, and I'm going to pop them right up here. If you don't play as the Greeks, if you don't play, you have to. There's just no, you can play as the Mississippians, but no, don't do it. You have to play as the Greeks. If you play as the Greeks, you're going to have a fantastic time. A fantastic, fantastic time. You're going to be so far ahead of everybody. And then you can play as like Mexico or Siam in the modern era and just benefit from all those city-states traditions that you're going to have. It's so... This is why they have the independent people system in the game. Otherwise, I would put them up here as stronger than Hawaii, but Hawaii doesn't need the independent peoples to be strong. With Shawnee, you have to play with the Greeks to be really, really powerful. But I think Shawnee are stronger than Ming. I think they're stronger than the Inca. I really, really, really like playing as the Shawnee. I love them. Give them a try. Give them a try. Tecumseh, Greeks, Shawnee, Mexico, or Siam. Give it a shot. The penultimate civilization on our tier list today is a civilization I really wish was a little bit better. The Songhai. The Songhai have a flavor to them. Navigable rivers, and they're the only civilization, in my opinion, that can possibly complete the treasure fleet's legacy path at the current state of the game. But they're just not that powerful. They have a production gold navigable river flavor, but they just don't have enough of any of it to get going. If we have here Tariq al-Sudan, 2 resource capacity in cities on navigable rivers, and your trade ships cannot be plundered on navigable rivers. This is just okay. This is just okay. Resource capacity is not a huge problem in the exploration area. You're going to have buildings that can increase it. It's okay. Gold Bangles infantry, 5 combat strength when fighting on a resource tile. It has to be on top of a resource tile, and 100% gold for pillaging trade routes. These boys suck. I have wanted these guys to be good. I love their model, but they suck. I don't like them. They're not good. The Tajiro, the unique merchant, when you create, you get 100 gold if this is a trade route with at least 1 navigable river. So you create it out of your capital, and most of the time, well, you're going to have 3 cities with navigable river tiles, so to play as a Songhai. So you're going to be able to get 100 gold from this easy peasy, but it's just like 100 gold is just 100 gold. And you're going to be making so much more than that. It doesn't worth it. And then your unique building, 5 gold, 1 gold adjacency for navigable rivers. So if I put it like here, I would have 2 gold off of that. So we'll put it up to 7. It's just okay. It has to be placed on desert or plains. It's just okay. I don't think it's very good. So these bonuses are not great. Do they have anything in their civic tree that makes up for this? Not really. You get Tomb of Askia pretty early. Where is the Tomb of Askia originally? Down here in Mercantilism. I don't think the Songhai civics are strong enough to go for it by themselves. So here it's 2 civics away, but it's on the wrong civic, right? It's on the wrong civic. You want to go for piety first to get Toshkana and the culture rolling. So yeah, maybe if you want the Tajiro really quickly, you can jump down here and get it. But I don't think Timbuktu, 2 gold on mines, if there's at least 1 gold building in your city, is strong enough to really jump straight here first. But if you want Tomb of Askia, 2 resource capacity, 2 gold and 1 production for every resource, it's good. It's good. Don't get me wrong. It is good. You kind of want it, so you might want to just jump straight here into Ships of the Desert. 50% production towards constructing gold buildings, and the caravanserai receives 2 gold in settlements with the bazaar. It's just okay. Haikoi combat units receive 5 combat strength on navigable rivers. You don't want to fight on rivers. You don't want your units sitting in the navigable river. They're going to get shot to death by enemy range fire, so you don't want that. This is a useless bonus. Rivers do not end movement, so I guess like you can... Nah. +2 movement to all units on navigable rivers allows you to like jump into the river and out to attack. But no, this is... You never like clicking these 2 things. They always feel bad. These feel okay. Never great, just okay. And these feel kind of bad. Kanta, Tajiros get 200 gold. That makes them better. And this is the only reason you play as the Songhai. Cities and homelands on navigable rivers generate 1 treasure fleet worth 1 treasure fleet point each. So every 8 turns, you're going to get 3 treasure fleet points towards the legacy path if you have 3 cities with navigable rivers, which you want to have if you have the Songhai. All in all, you're not a very good gold civ. I think the Ming do gold better than you. I think the Majapahit do gold. I think the Chola do gold better than you. You're not a very good combat civ. You're not the Normans. You're not the Mongolians. So really, what are you if you're playing as Songhai? You're not very much. I think the Songhai should be down here in weak. However, I will respect that if you play Egypt into Songhai, you do have really strong yields on navigable river tiles. Right? You can get +2 food, +2 culture on navigable river tiles with Egypt. So I'm going to put the Songhai here. Good with antiquity synergy, but that makes me feel like I shouldn't have the Chola down here. I would probably rather play the Songhai than the Chola just because of the treasure fleet bonus. I really can't think of a time where I'm like really happy to play as the Chola. I can't think of a time where I'm like, yeah, Chola, whoa! And sometimes I go like, it'd be interesting to play as the Songhai, yeah. Finally, we end with Spain. Probably the rarest civ to play as in the game. Spain does the distant lands like nobody else does. You are really incentivized through Siglo de Oro to conquer distant lands, towns, convert them up into cities because you get the 50% gold, 30% gold discount towards converting in distant lands, 15% in local lands. So you're really incentivized to get that gold savings in the distant lands. The Tercio gets high combat strength against cavalry units if you're next to each other. And then the Conquistador gets so many like military bonuses towards distant lands stuff that it can be really, really, really powerful. You get one that gives you 2 movement and sight on commanders, one that gives you 2 tercios and a cavalry, 3 tercios, 2 ranged units and a tercio. You have others that reveals the world map. You have others that converts independent powers to yours. You get 50% 50 gold per river tile, 200 gold for natural wonders, and one that acts straight up as a settler. So I think the Conquistador can be really good, but only if you're conquering. You really, really have to be conquering to get the most out of that Conquistador. And because of the way that the exploration era works, you really want to be conquering in the distant lands. So what other bonuses do you get here? The Plaza gives you 2 gold in this settlement for every settlement in distant lands. So you can get really rich if you're conquering those distant lands. You can get really, really, really rich if you're conquering the distant lands. You can get this easily up to 20 gold per district or per plaza, which gives you a ton of gold. 5 culture on the Casa Consistorial, 1 gold adjacency for quarters and wonders, must be built in the homelands and adjacent to coast. And then 5 gold, 1 gold adjacency for navigable rivers, must be built in the homelands. So yeah, you're really incentivized to conquer. It's confusing because you're incentivized to conquer the distant lands, but you can only build your plaza in the homelands, which you're probably going to end up with more settlements in the distant lands if you conquer it properly than you will in the homelands. So you're going to have all this gold, but you can't really scale that gold up like crazy like you would want to. It feels like it would be powerful, but it really comes up a little flat, in my opinion. Looking here at our traditions, +4 combat strength for all units in distant lands. 1 movement for treasure fleets, which you can only get from distant lands. You get 2 gold for each resource, which you're going to have more of in the distant lands because you're going to have a greater variety of them. Plus 10% food and production in settlements in distant lands, right? So you're incentivized to have so many distant land settlements. You get the settlement limit, you get 50% production towards naval units. Nobody cares about that though. And then you get all land units receive 2 movement when embarked to get you to those distant lands. So you're getting tons and tons of gold. You're getting tons of free units, but you know what you're not getting? Happiness to afford the settlement limits that you're going to need to really get these going. The plaza could be great, but that homelands like restriction really kills it. And the fact that you get no happiness whatsoever is going to make you struggle so much converting settlements into cities here, which you get the bonus to. You really, please developers, give Spain some happiness. Give Spain some happiness, because if you get the unhappy, like you can't have the happiness cap to settle or conquer as much in the distant lands as you need to really get the full suite of bonuses out of Spain. And that's a shame, because I think Spain's playstyle, their flavor, like the Songhai, I think their flavor is really good, right? I think the Norman flavor is really good, but I don't think Spain's any good. I think they're better than Chola, but my God, do I think that Spain is weak overall. And I think that leads into a problem that the exploration era has just generally. This gold and culture, happiness and gold, where we got gold and production, happiness and culture, gold, science, happiness, production, culture, food, production, happiness, food, science, production, influence, culture, science, food, gold, happiness, production, culture, food, gold production, culture. So like some civs, Abbasids, Shawnee, Majapahit, are so overloaded with the amount of bonuses that they give you. And then what does Spain give you? Just a lot of gold, but not even that much gold. You need the happiness. Some civs have great legacy path breaking mechanics. I love the navigable fleet mechanics on the Songhai, but you don't get enough. You really have to do more, and you don't have the strength to do more as the Songhai. So I really think that the exploration era, although it could be the most interesting era, everybody just gives you gold. Every civ gives you gold. Everybody gives you gold. I feel like I have gold bonuses everywhere. And then, like, so nobody really feels, like, so distinctly unique. Just like Antiquity Age, where all the other civs feel different. They feel unique. Very few of these guys feel unique. Mongolia clone with pillaging, Mongolia clone with culture. Gold civ, gold civ, gold civ. Naval civ, naval civ, naval civ, naval civ, naval civ, right? The Ming feel unique. The Shawnee feel unique. Mongolia feels unique-ish. But again, you know, horse boys. City-state people, nobody else is city-state people. Ocean people with food, ocean people with golden production. Science, big daddy science boys, weird science boys. I don't know. The exploration era, as much as I want to love it, I have a hard time like looking forward and saying, God, I would love to play as, you know, Bulgaria today. Whereas whenever I play the Antiquity Age, I really do feel that, wow, I want to play as Rome today. That's the end of this video. If you stuck around this long, please give me a like. You watched an hour and 26 minutes of video. I deserve that like. Thank you for sticking around. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. And make sure, if you stuck around this long, also subscribe. I'm growing my channel as much as I can, and you're right here along for the ride with me. Thanks for watching, everybody. Goodbye.